In today's video, we are exploring White Sands National Park, home to the world's largest gypsum sand dunes.
We're Katie and Joe. We self-converted our Ford Transit Clifford into the ultimate road trip vehicle because we're on a journey to visit all 63 U.S. national parks. So far we've seen aliens, driven a couple thousand miles, hiked to the top of Texas, and explored 800 feet underground. But our journey is just getting started.
This video got off to a bumpy start. It's 6:30 a.m. We were excited to go into the White Sands National Park. Unfortunately, and this is why it's important to check the National Parks app, it's closed for the next 3 hours for missile testing.
So I knew about this and I had looked into it, but our dates kind of shifted over the last week or so when we spent a little bit more time with my mom. And so I didn't even think to look this morning, and we got up early, stayed in a Walmart, and drove over, and there's cones everywhere, you can't go in. So it's completely on us, but make sure you're checking the National Park Service app and looking for those notifications, because it was there. They know ahead of time. We just didn't check and feel dumb because it's a beautiful sunrise. And
yeah, so now we're gonna go grab some coffee. We haven't had hot coffee in like 4 days because we forgot to turn our inverter on and we can't access it. So hot coffee, and then we'll be back here at 8:45 to experience all that is White Sands National Park.
All right. Since there's missiles going off, we came to the world's largest pistachio.
After our quick little pistachio and coffee detour, we made it back to White Sands just in time for opening. And right when we pulled into the parking lot, we got a call from a ranger.
Stand right in here and look in the cradle of that yucca. Do you see her?
Nesting just outside the visitor center was a great horned owl and her little fledgling. If the ranger hadn't pointed the birds out, we definitely wouldn't have noticed, or even been on the lookout. She blended in quite well. The owls seemed very tolerant of human presence. And while we could have spent endless time bird watching, we made our way into the visitor center to learn more about the park before venturing out to explore. Dunes Drive is an 8-mile scenic road that leads from the visitor center into the heart of the gypsum dune field. The first 5 miles are paved before transitioning to hard-packed sand for the remaining 3. The 16-mile round-trip drive would take approximately 45 minutes if you opt not to get out of your vehicle at any of the outdoor exhibits, hiking trails, or picnic areas.
We decided to drive a few miles back into the park to kind of avoid the crowds, and we found the Backcountry trail, which is where all the campsites are. Unfortunately, right now the campsites are closed due to some sort of rejuvenation project, but it's a nice 2-mile loop, and we are about to go for a nice little hike and hopefully get some nice photos of sand dunes.
Clifford. The backcountry camping permits, I believe, are only $3. So when they open it back up to camping, it's definitely something to look into. Could you imagine waking up to these views? Gorgeous. We got pretty fortunate today with the weather. As you can see, we've quite a bit of cloud coverage, which makes it really nice to walk. Otherwise, the reflections on this sand would be pretty brutal.
So Katie, how's the sand feel?
I mean, walking in the dunes was a little bit easier than I was anticipating. I was thinking like when you walk at the beach and it's super deep, It's kind of hard to go up the dunes. I feel like that's when it's the deepest, but here, I mean, it's pretty packed. It's not too terrible, which is nice.
Just kidding, it's much easier than that.
That's where it gets a little trickier. What's really nice about the sand dunes is, well, they're dunes, so even though there are a lot of people around, you don't really hear them, and you honestly don't really see them. So it's kind of nice.
So the backcountry loop is really pretty.
I think it gives one of the better views of the dunes without a lot of the vegetation because we're further into the park itself. But there's a lot of other activities to do, so we're gonna head back to the car and see the next one. Don't leave your trash in the park.
No, it's not as much as I expected. Nope.
Oh, no, it keeps going. We've talked a few times of the NPS app on this channel. The National Park Service has their own app, but gives a lot of like up-to-date information and alerts, which is pretty crucial. But a really cool feature at White Sands is a self-guided audio tour. There's 4 different ones to choose from, ranging from 1 to 2 hours, 1 to 3 hours, depending on if you're walking the dunes or just driving around. And it's pretty simple. You just click the audio tour, go to where the little pin is, follow the map, and then you start.
Welcome to White Sands National Park and the self-guided driving tour.
We're currently on the Interdune Boardwalk, which is one of the only accessible places in the park where you can actually venture into the dunes. So they have this wonderful built-up path that goes between the dunes. There's a little bit of sun protection and just a nice little perspective. All right, in your lifetime, how many pounds of gypsum will you eat?
No. I don't know. 17.
28. It's an ingredient in drywall, so stop licking the walls.
This shot is the perfect time to let you know that White Sands is actually pet friendly. This is rare for national parks, but so long as you keep your pet leashed and clean up after them, they can enjoy the park right alongside you.
Acquire the sled. Quickly ran back to the visitor center to get some sled packs. So we left the park for a few hours in the middle of the day. It was too hot. We didn't want to run the van's fan because of all the sand. And now that we're back, there's a huge windstorm, and you could probably hear the wind blowing in the mic. We're now at Alkali Flats, which is one of the longer trails in the park, and we're just exploring a little bit, waiting for the sun to go down because we hear sunset here is spectacular. We've noticed already that the dunes look incredibly different than they did this morning. Now there's a lot of deep shadows, and it's almost a better shot than it was this morning. Still beautiful. This wind, though, is something else. Quite the storm coming through. We're hoping it kind of calms down a little bit so we can get some nice photos of sunset. But even through the wind, with some sunglasses on, it's worth the hike out here. So let's take a walk on the Alkali Trail. Joey just took a really nice photo of this other photographer out there. So we're gonna go talk to him. Oh, he's still doing it. I wasn't kidding when I was talking about the wind. It's pretty crazy. It's really neat to see the sand blowing across the dunes though. We went into the visitor center. Oh, I'm gonna turn this way to hopefully protect the mic. We went into the visitor center today and they showed a film that gave a little bit of history of the park, and it was super fascinating. One of the things we learned is basically every time you come to White Sands National Park, you're seeing a different version of the park because these dunes move upwards of 15 feet per year. So you may take a beautiful landscape photo today, and then if you came back in a month, a year, 2 years, the dunes would not be in the same place, and I think that's really unique. So every time you come, it's a special moment and just a snapshot of time because things are ever changing. And those dunes are moving because of the wind like this. We also learned in that video that some of the yucca plants that you see across the dunes, they look like they're maybe 2 feet tall, 3 feet tall, they're kind of sticking out. They could be as many as 30 feet tall or 30 feet under the sand. And then when the wind does shift the dunes, the yuccas become exposed, and then unfortunately they eventually die because their system can't support the weight because the sand was doing that. And I thought that was pretty cool. So fun facts with Katie right there. Joey's making photo friends.
We made our way deep into the dunes to find the perfect spot to watch the sunset. Sunsets at White Sands National Park may be the best of anywhere on the planet. You are transported into a cotton candy dream world. The beauty of this place truly shines at this time. White Sands is a playground for photography at any point during the day, but the pure magic of the crisp white dunes against the pastel pink and purple sky was more than we could have ever hoped for. If you only have a couple hours to visit, we suggest making them the evening hours and enjoying the sunset.
To do here at White Sands National Park, and it's coming up next. I've been looking forward to this all day long. We bought sleds at the visitor center, actually at the gift shop behind the visitor center. It's $24 and you own it, like this is ours now, but if you were to bring it back and sell it back to them, they'll give you $5 of store credit, not cash, so that's kind of a bummer. So either way, you're out 25 bucks. But as you can see, the sun has gone down, the shop is closed, so this is ours now. I'm gonna take my wax it up, and we're gonna hit the dunes. They're all over me.
Boop. Dogs. In today's video, we are exploring White Sands National Park. And it's windy. Getting worse.
Hey.
It's a me, a Joe.
On the go.
We're actually stationary at the moment.
Kind of.
Junior Park Ranger Joe here to talk about park etiquette. If you're on a boardwalk or a path, make sure you stay on the path. If they have railings, don't duck under the railings. Stay on the path. That's it for today.